Hoods and ranges are pretty straightforward, right? You go to a customer's house and you clean the hoods and ranges. Well, not so fast. There are a couple of things we have to discuss today. Did you know that there are a whole bunch of things you need to know about hoods and ranges? And it's peculiar because not every house is created equal, and not every stove is created equal, and the hoods above the stove are not created equal. So we're going to ask Liz Trotter, who is one of our show correspondents for today, to come on our show and to share with us how the ranges and the hoods operate inside people's homes and what you need to know before you randomly start putting chemicals on there. Now, a quick note about Liz. She co-owns Castle Keepers, which is a franchise of cleaning companies all across the United States. And so she is the expert in what we need to know about hoods and ranges. So with that, please help me welcome Liz Trotter.
So ranges and hoods are tricky, tricky, tricky. And the reason why they're so tricky is there are so many different materials that they're made out of and ages. So the ages are a really big deal. If you have an old hood, you're going to clean it a lot different than if you're going to be cleaning a new hood. So some of the tricks are to first know what it is that you're cleaning, what kind of material. A lot of hoods you'll find are painted. And so if you have a painted hood, you have to clean it completely differently than if you have, say, a stainless steel hood, right? And ranges, same thing. All right. Now, the reason why the painted hood really, really matters is if you have heavy buildup of grease on a painted hood, many times that grease will settle into the paint that is on the hood. And now you have a problem because the same product that you need to use to clean off that grease is the same product that will remove that paint. So this is the most dangerous thing that we run into when we're cleaning hoods, and that's why I'm talking about it first. So if you are going to clean a painted hood, my recommendation is the opposite of what I would tell you if you're cleaning grease off of any other hood, and that is do not use a degreaser. Okay, don't use your orange degreaser or anything that you would normally use. Instead, something mild, something like a dish soap, a microfiber cloth, some water is a great cleaner. So try water first, see what you can get with a microfiber and water. If you have deionized water, that might be the ticket for you. Try that. If not, a dish soap. Dawn will work really good for cutting grease without causing you the grief of the lifted paint. Don't use the degreaser. That's my number one thing. Do not do it because the paint will lift right off and you'll be left with emptiness right there where the paint was, and you'll be replacing a 30-year-old hood, right?
And that is an important key. And I'm so glad that Liz brought this up to us, because what you don't realize as you're starting out in the cleaning business is that if you damage or destroy a customer's property, even if it's 30 years old, they expect you to replace it. Now, here's the catch. You're not going to be able to go out and find a 30-year-old replacement to replace it at the cost at which you destroyed it. So now you're going to have to pony up the money, and you're going to have to replace it at whatever today's prices are to replace the new range and hood so that it matches the kitchen, because you picked up all the paint or you destroyed the surface of it. And so she's saving you right now, and she gives you these tips. So listen up. And like I said, make sure that you've got a pen and paper handy, because this you don't want to screw up, because you got better things to spend your money on than your customers' range and hood, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How picky are customers about their appliances?
So much pickier than you think they should be. They're picky. They want their appliances to look brand new, even if it is a 30-year-old appliance. They think it should look brand new because you're the professional. So most of the time, it can look brand new, which is the good news. You just need to know the right tool, the right equipment to get it all clean. But if you can tell it's not going to be able to, there's damage. Maybe the paint's already missing. Maybe there are scratches on that stainless steel. Maybe you can see that it's not going to look brand new. Make sure that you tell the customer in advance. If you tell them up front, then you can shift their expectation. And that expectation is what's going to cause you the trouble.
You mentioned using the right tools. Are there special tools to use?
So there are so many tools out there, right? So many. And I could not tell you the exact right tool to use on the stovetop or the hood for every different type that there are. But I can tell you some things that you shouldn't use, stay away from, and be careful of. You know those green scrubby pads that everybody loves, or the yellow sponge with the green on the back? Keep those away from your stovetops and your hoods. Unless you have a gas range, unless you know what you're doing, stay away from them. If you know exactly how to use them, you can probably be safe. Other than that, mm-mm. Now there are also these cute little metal ball things that we clean with. We call them scrunchies or metal scrubbies, and a lot of people use those. Also, Adobe pad. Those things can both be used really, really well, but you have to be careful and you have to know what you're doing again. If you have not cleaned a surface before and you're not exactly sure, you have a stovetop, it's like, wow, it's super shiny stainless. You just have never cleaned one exactly like this, go with the mildest thing that you have, your cloth, your dish soap, something along those lines. Because again, like Angela said, if you damage it, they're going to want it replaced, even if it was the only way to get it clean in your mind, right? It feels like that sometimes. So the mildest thing, and then practice. Find a surface that you can practice on that's the same, or get advice in the groups, or obviously from Angela, right? She'll give you this advice too on different sort of surfaces. One other tool that is super, super great, I do want to mention that I don't see a lot of people using is actually a razor blade and a safety holder. But the other thing is a metal brush. It's like a metal toothbrush. And this metal toothbrush, when laid sideways, not used this way like you would use on your teeth, but sideways, is very, very powerful. It's an excellent tool for just erasing things without scratching. You have to know how to use it again, practice not on your customer surfaces, right? But then you'll find that that brush is a great tool.
And I think that's the key. I think you don't go experimenting on your customers' appliances.
Yeah.
Because the customers, like you said, are picky. And although your intentions are good, like, oh, hey, I'm going to polish this up, I'm going to do a great job, and I'm going to scrub the heck out of this, then what happens is you damage it. And what goodwill did that do? Now they're upset. Now they take to social media. They post pictures. My house cleaner just damaged my stove. Like, and it does more bad will than it does goodwill. And so although your intentions were good, Liz is right on target when she says don't experiment on your customers' surfaces, because it gets expensive when you have to replace it.
Yeah. And it's frustrating, especially when, like Angela said, you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart. You're trying to do such a great job. It's frustrating for everybody, frustrating for them, and frustrating for you too. It can just sap your enthusiasm for your job when something's damaged, when you're trying so hard.
And if I can add one tool to avoid on glass, ceramic stovetops, would be pumice stones. We have so many house cleaners that are like, hey, I use pumice stones, and they promote these in Facebook groups and stuff. And I just want to like poke them in the eyes and go, please don't. While there are people, here's the catch. There are people that are so masterfully and skilled at using pumice stones. They can get away with it. But for the majority of us, that is not the case. And if you hire people, that is not the case. And it is not scalable. And so if you send out a house cleaner and you're like, oh, sure, use a pumice stone, and this goes for glass shower doors, this goes for anything glass tabletops, just please don't. Please don't, because I can't tell you how much damage is reported back to me every day from both house cleaners and homeowners that are like, what just happened? And I'm like, I honestly have no idea, and I have no words. Because in my head, you just don't do that. So everything that Liz just said, and pumice stones.
Pumice stones, oh my gosh, is such a good point. Yeah. And not just glass. I mean, really keep your pumice stone in your toilets and your sinks. Nowhere else. Safety, toilets and sinks only.
And if you use a pumice stone, if you use it, please don't use it. But if you use it, please use it wet. Wet only. Yes. Wet only. A pumice stone is a stone. It is a stone. If you scratch it with something, it will scratch. So, all right. Well, guys, this was so much fun. I am so thrilled that we have Liz joining us today. Our time is up, so we have to say goodbye, but let's do this again sometime soon.